The first dilemma is from Sasid. I don't know if I said that right. If I said it wrong, I apologize. Nevertheless, bro, I want you to tell me the best ways to get started and never relapse in my nofap journey. Only text me. Am waiting you. Winky face. Okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you are from another country. That would explain a lot here. But with that being said, as far as nofap goes, getting started on nofap is just a matter of making the decision. Nofap is a mindset. A lot of people don't understand that nofap is about 90% psychological, 10% physical. And I think that that's what separates nofap from other forms of rehab, from maybe drug addictions or alcohol addictions and so on and so forth. NoFap is largely psychological. So you making the conscious decision to say, I am on NoFap right here, right now. Not tomorrow, not after this next relapse, not starting in 2023. I am on NoFap right here, right now. You making that conscious decision, that's how you get started. Don't overcomplicate that. Now, as far as lasting on NoFap, never relapsing on your NoFap journey, it's a matter of continuously making that decision on a daily basis or on a moment-to-moment basis to say that I am on NoFap, therefore I don't relapse on NoFap. I no longer engage in that activity and I'm on NoFap. That's just what I do. It aligns with who I am. Me being on NoFap is a natural byproduct of who I am. You have to have that sort of mental resilience and that sort of mindset. It's all about making promises with yourself and keeping them. That's really what discipline is all about. And discipline is the foundation of your NoFap journey. That is above self-love. Okay, self-love is the true core foundation of NoFap. Discipline is a peripheral foundation of NoFap. So by you loving yourself enough to be disciplined, i.e. make promises with yourself and keep them, that in and of itself is going to keep you from relapsing on NoFap. So it always comes back to self-love. One thing you guys will notice is that every problem that you ever have, especially problems pertaining to addiction or behavioral patterns, can be tied back to self-love or a lack thereof. So focus on loving yourself enough to instill that discipline and keep those promises that you're making to yourself. And a big part of the way that you can do that is by accepting yourself as you are right now. Accept all of the mistakes that you've made in the past. Forgive yourself for all of the mistakes that you've made in the past so that you can free yourself from the mistakes that you've made in the past. A lot of people, what they do is they hold themselves to their past versions, the mistakes that they've made in the past. And what ends up happening is that they perpetuate the self-identity that they've created based on those mistakes that they've made. You can't allow the past to define you. The past is the past. The present is who you truly are. You are not your past. You are who you are right now. You are who you decide to be. Like I said, it's a decision. So in you deciding to do NoFap, you're also deciding to embody a new version of yourself. You are reinventing yourself, and that applies to any and all self-development or spiritual practices. The next dilemma is from Anonymous. Hey Jordan, I have a decision to make. Should I go to a university at 18 and study something that is, let's say, all right, but I don't really see a future or have passion about it yet? To be more specific, that's graphism, and this is probably my most preferred thing out of all of the options that a university can offer. Or should I take these years to fully focus on self-improvement, trying out new things, I'm already doing that but with no luck, and see where it goes? If I choose the second option, my mom says that she will probably kick me out of the house when I turn 18. Thank you. Okay, Anonymous, so you sent that dilemma when you were 16, and that was back in January, so I'm going to assume that you're either still 16 or you've turned 17 now. Either way, you have at least a year to decide. Now, here's what I want you to do, first of all. I want you to go out and get yourself a job. Get yourself a job, pick up as many hours as you possibly can, and stack your bread. I don't want you buying shoes. I don't want you buying clothes. I don't want you buying food. I don't want you buying anything because you are stacking up your bread. You are building what is known as a nest egg. This nest egg is what will enable you to make at least somewhat of a decent living or maintain somewhat of a comfortable lifestyle should your mom kick you out of the house at 18. Which personally I believe is really, really bad parenting. but it's probably not my place to say that. I'm not talking to your mom, I'm talking to you. Now, with that being said, you kind of have to put things into context. Okay, if you're gonna do graphism, then I don't necessarily know the job prospects of that. As a matter of fact, I'll look it up right now for you. Graphism refers to the expression of thought in material symbols. Okay, so I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't think there are any job prospects with that. Just based on that definition that I just read, I don't really see any potential job prospects with that. So if you're doing that, if you're gonna go to college to do that, you would probably be better off not going to college altogether. Unless you have a full ride scholarship and you are genuinely passionate about that, which you said that you don't have a passion about it yet. So I don't think it's worth pulling out student loans to go to college when you don't want to be there and then major in something that is not going to be profitable. There is literally no upside to that whatsoever. And if your mom would rather you do that than to not go to college, then you need to take some time to assess where your mom is at mentally. Okay, and I'm not saying that to put her down or anything. I'm not trying to talk bad about your mom, but you have to understand that if she is steering you in that direction, then you don't necessarily need to take her judgment into account moving forward. You're at that age where you can start thinking for yourself, and I would highly suggest that you do so. Now, like I said, I don't have the full context of the situation. I don't know whether or not she knows that that's the major that you're thinking about, but like I said, I don't think that that's something that you should major in if you go to college. Going to college is largely a logical decision. It is a decision that you make based on a potential outcome that you want to see into fruition. So with that being said, there's no real point in going to college to pursue something that has no real job prospects, at least from what I can tell. And on top of that, you don't want to be there and you're not passionate about it. It doesn't make sense. There is nothing logical or rational about that. If you're going to go to college, major in something that will get you a return on your investment. Now, as far as focusing on self-improvement for those 4 years and trying different things, I'm all for that. I actually think that you should try college. I think that people watching this, okay, I always talk about not going to college if you don't want to be there, but how do you know you don't want to be there until you go? My thing is, you shouldn't pull out student loans to figure out whether or not you want to be there, because once you pull out those student loans, it no longer matters whether or not you want to be there, because you are now obligated, you are now liable for those student loans. Do not pull out student loans to do a trial run of college. If you're going to try college, try community college. And to me, that seems like a good compromise between your desires and your mother's desires, because community college still allows you the freedom to go out and try different things and not have to pull out those student loans for school. Because like I said, going to school, that is trying out something new. Going to college, that is. But at the same time, if you know that college isn't really the optimal path for you, and you won't know that until you try it, but if you determine later on that college is not the optimal path for you, it is much easier to simply drop your community college classes and not have to worry about paying back student loans because you pulled out loans thinking that you were going to go and get a degree, which you ended up not getting. So go to community college, just split the difference down the middle, unless you find something else that you enjoy doing. Go to community college, and a lot of times you can just commute from your home to a community college and make things a lot easier financially. You can still stay with your parents, so on and so forth. And from there, you can determine whether or not college is actually the right decision for you. Now, as far as your mom kicking you out, that's why I said you need to build that nest egg. You need to get you a job and you need to start working and saving your money. You want to get at least, if possible, $5,000 saved up. Get around $5,000 saved up, and if your mom kicks you out, get a couple of your friends and see if you guys can rent an apartment together. So that right there takes care of that. That's your backup plan. But as far as college itself, try community college, especially if you're going to be majoring in graphism. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that major, but it's not worth pulling out student loans to major in graphism. It's simply not. If you have a full ride scholarship, then all of this is a moot point. You can go to college, do the full ride scholarship. If you decide that you don't like it, drop out. but I do feel like it's worth at least trying. The next dilemma is from Charles. Hey Jordan, my mom wants me to go to college after high school, but I'm not interested in continuing school, and I want to pursue a professional career in boxing. She's very controlling and even violent at times, and I don't want anything to do with her plan. Any advice? So again, it kind of comes down to you building that nest egg. Your situation is a little different in that not only is she controlling, but she's violent, meaning that you are potentially in danger in that household. So I would highly suggest that you get out of that house as soon as you possibly can. As soon as you possibly can. You were 16 as well at the time of your dilemma. So the same advice applies to you. Go and get you a job. Okay, getting a job and pursuing a professional career in boxing are not mutually exclusive. You can do both. It's about time management. And once you get out of school, it'll be a lot easier for you. But obviously, your mom's going to want you to go to college, which really might be the best decision for you, if I'm being completely honest. Because by you going to college, you would at the very least get away from her. And you could go to college and major in something that maybe pertains to boxing, such as health science or, I don't know, sports psychology or something of that nature that can help you further your education in the realm of not just boxing, but athletics in general, or of your biology, physiology, so on and so forth. I dropped out myself. I'm just throwing terms off the top of my head, but I feel like you should definitely consider college as a possibility. And I know this all sounds very, very off center for me because I'm always saying that college isn't really the optimal path, especially if you don't want to be there. But college can be a very viable and even prosperous path for those of you who are in toxic home environments such as yours. Okay, if you're in a situation where you're in a toxic household, then pulling out those loans might very well be worth it. Because like I said, you going to college and you pursuing a career in professional boxing are not mutually exclusive. You can do both. You can do both. But of course, you want to take action right now. The difference between your dilemma and the previous dilemma is that you already know what you want to do. So it's just a matter of putting in the work. But of course, when it comes to things like boxing or being an entrepreneur, being a musician, overnight success, I'm not saying that it's impossible. Your life can change very quickly, but it doesn't always happen that way. Success is inevitable, but it may not always happen in the time frame that you expect or desire. So I would highly suggest that you stay open to the possibility of college and see if you can get scholarships or grants, things like that. Go to the cheapest possible college you can find, or go to colleges that maybe have the best programs that allow you to further your career in boxing, even if indirectly. And from there, you can make connections. You can make new connections that can help you further your career in ways that you wouldn't have been able to doing it by yourself. So, like I said, this is just one possible path for you, and it could be a very, very prosperous and profitable and peaceful path for you because you're getting out of that toxic household environment. So consider that possibility. If not that, then like I said, start working, start building that nest egg. I don't know if you're getting paid for your amateur matches. I'm assuming that you're probably not. So save up as much money as you possibly can and see if you can move out.